Wait, this song kind of sound like...
Wait, what?
Look, I want to start off by saying Avenged Sevenfold is my favorite band of all time. Now that that's out of the way, what the fuck is this? I remember my first experience with Avenged Sevenfold. This is fucking artistry, let me tell you. Avenged Sevenfold debuted with their record Sounding the Seventh Trumpet in 2001, and that's alright. I've met real Avenged Sevenfold fans that like Sounding the Seventh Trumpet, but I've never met a real Avenged Sevenfold fan that likes Sounding the Seventh Trumpet and doesn't have to blow into one of these things to start their vehicle. But, you know, after whatever this was, they decided they wanted to actually make music, and make music they did. This album is the birthplace of the 578, and yeah, I know, Black Dahlia Murder did it first, but come on, man, it's the fucking Unholy Confessions riff. It's kind of like Skibbity Toilet if you really think about it. Editing Ryan here, I don't know why I said that. Disregard that. I seriously don't know what the fuck I was on when I said that. So anyway, after making the metalcore album of all time, they followed up with City of Evil, and, you know, a lot of people didn't really like it, but this is where they started showing that they weren't just another metalcore band, and that they had some other tricks up their sleeve. Like a Spanish guitar. City of Evil has the reputation of being the poser pick these days, but it's iconic for a reason, and not a year will go by where you're not reminded of how fucking good Bat Country is. Next, they made what is commonly considered their best album, which is kind of funny because I'd say out of their debut, Self-Titled has the weakest opening track, that being Critical Acclaim. But to be fair, it does a pretty good job of setting the musical tone of the album with how different it is compared to anything before it. Look, I love Avenged, but I also love being an armchair critic and shaming people who contribute to turning the war machine. What can I say? I'm a woke soy boy cuck who doesn't like war. Fucking put that in your pipe and smoke it, Kid Rock. Anyway, Critical Acclaim aside, the rest of this album has no skips, and 3 of my top 10 Avenged songs come from this album. Yeah, I'd scream Afterlife and Almost Easy. The drums on Almost Easy make me feel like I'm smoking salvia out of a syringe that has traces of an HPV shot in it. Self-Titled was followed by my personal favorite album from the band, that being Nightmare. It's very obviously not their best work, but it's still my favorite. Nightmare, 10 out of 10 opening track. Welcome to the Family, ridiculously catchy. Danger Line didn't make the cut for City of Evil, and it kind of sounded okay here, I guess. Buried Alive is a great commentary on allowing yourselves to be cowardly your whole life and then paying for it later. Or at least I think, because I don't actually know what the song is about. This is all just guesswork. I looked up the meaning out of curiosity, but there's no really official statement from the band on what it's about, because the guy that wrote it isn't really around all that much anymore. I did see one guy on Reddit say that he interpreted it as a victim of sexual abuse taking revenge on their abuser, but it's kind of a bit reachy. And also the guy who could confirm this isn't very active online anymore. So Far Away and Fiction are also on this album, which are tributes to Jimmy Sullivan, aka The Rev, and they're both beautiful tracks, especially Fiction, which was actually written by The Rev, lyrically. I don't know about instrumentals, I didn't look that up. The last notable track on this album is Save Me, and God, when I tell you... What's the musical version of that Absolute Cinema meme? Absolute Orchestra, great track. Just God, all 11 minutes of it have me crying from my face and my Johnson. I'm at the well, everyone's gotta have one. Hail to the King isn't a bad sounding record, but it's honestly pure radio slop. Shepherd of Fire is kind of just like cooler Enter Sandman, and Hail to the King has this really obnoxious ride cymbal in it that I fucking hate. It's just a really mediocre album. Not a lot to say about it. It's the most commercially successful album they'll ever have, and I guess it funded Neil deGrasse Man Tyson's feature on their next album, so that's cool. I really wanted to put a funny clip of Neil deGrasse Man Tyson speaking here, but apparently all of the funny leaves the room whenever he enters. Prior to producing their next album, they decided to cut loose from Warner Bros. Records, and I imagine the breakup fight went something like this.
What do you want, White Ninja?
To be the best, of course. I ran into your servant. He said, "You feared me not."
There is nothing to fear from you or your ninjas.
Funny.
So yeah, then they made the stage with Capitol Records. I remember my first time actually hearing the title track for this album. I'd listened to it before, but I hadn't actually heard it. Chicken sees her, but does chicken hear her? I was definitely not supposed to be listening to music during this, but I fucking did anyway. Yeah, put that in your pipe and smoke it, Kid Rock. I threw on an album by some obscure math rock band that a guy on Reddit told me was good, and it turns out the album was only 30 minutes long, and it fucking sucked.
Fuck you, Jimmy.
So Apple Music just started making shit up, and eventually the stage came on. Didn't even register that it was Avenged until right before the verse came in, where I was finally like, oh yeah, it's from that one album I didn't like. The stage really grew on me, and I mean really grew on me. I fucking loved the sound of this album, and the new prog metal influences they were thrown into everything on the album. It was just awesome. Personally, my only skip on the album is Higher, and it's because something about Shadow's vocals just aren't right, but I can't put my finger on exactly what it is, so I just don't listen to the song. Then there's the Neil deGrasse Man Tyson feature. It's at the end of their song Exist on this record, and it's a really solid prog ballad, but it's not my favorite ballad the band ever put out because, I mean, how do you top Save Me? A year after they put out the stage, they put out a deluxe version of the stage with a way better album cover. It's funny that it's just the original cover, but they just hit it with a contrast slider, but it's still way more cool. The deluxe edition has 5 more songs that include a cover of a Spanish song, and it's baller as fuck. That would be really funny if my mic picked that up. What the fuck is my roommate yelling at? Anyway, that's the stage, and the band wouldn't put out a full-length record until 2023, but we'll get to that mess, I promise. In the meantime, they made their Black Rain EP, which includes a single they released in 2018 called Mad Hatter, the 2 songs they wrote for Call of Duty, and an instrumental that sounds like it was supposed to go on the stage, but they didn't put it on the stage for some reason. And it's barely an EP, honestly. It's more so repackaging shit, but, they released it as an EP, so I guess it's an EP. I also just don't get, why did they call it Black Rain? Hang on, what? Why? Yeah, why did they do that? I'm rereading this shit right now. Why? What? Look, I know I said earlier they didn't release a full-length album until 2023, but they technically did. They released an album called Diamonds in the Rough. But this doesn't count as a fucking album.
Do I look like a real boy, Papa?
You will one day, my little wooden boy.
They just wanted more time to chill after the stage and threw some shit together. It's got some cool original tracks, but it also just has a lot of the bonus tracks on it from the other albums like Lost It All and St. James, and a cover of Walk by Pantera for some reason.
White pride, we are the great people. Hey, and you know what? Maybe, just maybe, tonight is a white day.
In case you're unfamiliar, that neo-Nazi that just went on a neo-Nazi rant is Phil Anselmo, the lead singer and frontman of Pantera. I will say, I do prefer the version of Almost Easy on this album, but it's because I'm a fucking freak. In addition to an alternate version of Almost Easy, there's one for Afterlife, and it's Afterlife. The album ends with a cover of Paranoid for some reason. How the fuck is the final track of the album a fucking cover? There's even, there's no thematical fit with Paranoid. What? I mean, it's a whatever album. If I was a vinyl guy, I'd probably own it just to complete the collection. But, I'm a CD guy, and there's nothing in this track worth physically preserving. Alright, I've put it aside long enough.
You think this is something? You think this is bad? This chicanery? He's done worse.
Life is But a Dream is certainly a piece of music history. I remember being so fucking pumped for this shit, too. And then they dropped their song Nobody as a single, and...
Is it that give you the real? That value fills your heart.
Yeah, if you claim to have liked this on first listen, you're a lying piece of shit. I think Nick Nocturnal was the only person that I saw say anything positive about this when it first dropped, and even he wasn't bought in until the solo.
What? Is that guitar? This might be in drop C, and I think I messed up. I just assumed dropped It's Avenged. Okay. There's this random trumpet. Is this Bohemian Rhapsody?
I mean, today I can say with certainty that I like the track, but even today it's not exactly pushing my top 20 favorites of theirs. It's got cool lyrics and an absolutely killer solo, probably my favorite Avenged solo since Scream, but it still absolutely falls short in a lot of aspects. The mixing, my god, the mixing on this track is fucking weird. It's not unique, it's just weird and it doesn't sound right. And this mixing isn't unique to just this track, it's the entire fucking album. The elephant in the room is Shadow's vocals. You see, M. Shadows, frontman of Avenged, kind of fucking fried his voice or something, and now he has to sing like someone's cupping their hand around his stoma. It's not a deal breaker for me, obviously, but I know 4 other Avenged fans that won't listen to anything from this album because he sounds like that. Obviously, there's not much the band could do about that. They can't exactly replace the frontman of the band after 22 years. What, you think they just auto-tune everything instead? I mean, the track grew on people eventually, but then...
Okay. Yeah, 1 second, let me cover it. Yeah, for sure, Chad. I'll get my fucking guitar.
Rewatching that is so fucking funny. He's genuinely pissed that he had to listen to it. Shadow's vocals at the beginning of this track sound like someone trying to growl on a saxophone with their voice. What the fuck? Look, I get what they were trying to do, but it sounds like pee from a wiener, and I don't pitch tents over pee. Quite possibly the worst solo this band has ever written, too. Why the fuck did they put so much twang on the guitar at the end?
Okay.
Needless to say, at this point, I was not excited for the album to drop, but you know what I did? I still fucking listened to the whole damn thing when it dropped. Put that in your pipe and smoke it, Kid Rock. And you know what? Game Over is neat. I can't lie. It's a good opening track. Liked it the first time I heard it, but it is heavily carried by the drums. Brooks Wackerman, excellent job with the drum part. The chorus is really cool, and the big piano chords in the middle really hit. It's just an overall solid track. Metalcore is my personal favorite track from the album, and it's also one of 2 from this album I have in my main playlist. I know people hate the Plastic Daisies line, but what can I say? I'm a fucking freak. It being from the perspective of a Barbie is a cool concept, and oh my god, is that a Truman Show reference?
What the hell does this have to do with anything?
I just found out that Mattel has a music video in the making of this video, and it's the second most disturbing Avenged Sevenfold music video ever released. Cosmic is the fan favorite on the album, and, for good reason. It's a good ethereal prog rock track. I don't have anything else to say about that. This is Alice in Chains at 2026. Feel old yet? Okay, rapid fire round. Compression R Us, Dream Theater if they did even more acid, Daft Punk, Frank Sinatra Creepypasta, and Sheet Music Boss Video When? Life is But a Dream is a fun album, except all that buzzkill shit about being dead and enslaved in a plastic body. Yeah, that is kind of a dark concept. Huh. I should listen to Metalcore after this. Front to back, it's a really neat experience, and I'm glad the band made it. Experimental shit is cool, but I really do hope they make something a little more familiar next time. Did the natives say yes to this one? I cannot believe that someone at Activision wrote off on this being in COD. Now I'm really never gonna buy Black Ops 7. This is where I began to wonder what the fuck they were doing. The song isn't We Love You levels of bad, but the bar is in the fucking Mariana Trench. The auto-tune shit is, well, just shit. The song has potential with the drums and the guitar, but Shadows really, really wanted that auto-tune, didn't he? And now we're in the big 26, the year of the birds. Do you remember where you were when Avenged Sevenfold dropped Statica? 18 minutes of pure gobbledygook. Lights as an opening track isn't as bad as it could have been, but 3 out of 4 planes hitting buildings isn't as bad as it could have been either. M. Shadows was sipping straight Jupiter lean with Mitch McConnell when they made this one. The title track Statica sounds like something I made on GarageBand when I discovered Apple plugins. How do I even accurately critique this? It's supposed to be music, but it's not music shaped. It's like Gordon Ramsay saying he's been experimenting with his style of cooking, and then after 3 years he puts a fucking toaster on your plate and says, eat that. Gordon, I can't eat this, it's a fucking toaster! I like how the end of this section of noise just sounds like Sin plugged his guitar into a World War II era radio and had slow, rough sex with a whammy bar. Rejoice in the Lord, for he provides you with a track loosely inspired by Deltarune DA games and Godsmack. Matt sounds like a woman here. I don't know, I just thought I'd point that out. Ashes makes me wish I was Ashes, so I didn't have to hear the same guys that made Waking the Fallen try to pass this off as music. I really don't know what specifically to say about the tracks on Statica, other than they're just noise and the vague structure of a song. Oh yeah, and it fucking sucks. The guy with a Liebad shirt on in this video was even like,
"What the fuck is this piece of shit?"
It's no secret that there's not a love for modern Avenged Sevenfold. Hail to the King being the album that followed the Rev's passing left a sour taste in a lot of people's mouths, and those who stuck around weren't super satisfied with the prog sound of the stage. Then Liebad came out, and a lot more people left, and what's the reward for those of us that stuck around? Avenged's live performances have also been significantly less appealing these days. If you're a fan of their work pre-Hail to the King, you'll inevitably have to sit through stuff like Liebad songs, Magic, and now Statica to hear them. You also have to listen to Sullivan King or Poppy to even hear Avenged, and no hate to either of those artists, but if Avenged Sevenfold appeals to you because of Waking the Fallen or Self-Titled, your head might actually explode from a Sullivan King song. Good Charlotte is still doing stuff with them at least. Avenged Sevenfold's stage presence has become significantly worse these days. Like, what the fuck are you doing, Shadow? Stand up for the pledge, son. They also use generative AI for their background visuals, and first and foremost, it's incredibly shitty that a group of musicians and artists are embracing generative AI in any part of their creative process. And because they use AI for visuals, I wouldn't be surprised if they're also using generative AI for parts of their songwriting. You know what, now that I say it, it's also kind of funny that they use generative AI, considering they made an album that explicitly says that it's a dangerous technology. Am I still an Avenged Sevenfold fan? Unfortunately, yeah. I'm not a fan of a lot they're doing these days, but they're still the band that made my favorite music, and Sinister Gates is enough to keep me coming back at least. No band will ever have the track record that they have, and no band could just write Enter Sandman and drop D and get a Billboard top 5. Oh, seriously, name one other fucking band that's done that isn't Metallica. And I mean, like, regardless of everything, there's still a lot of personality here, and I do have faith that it will get better. If there's a lesson to be learned from this video, it's that experimentation does not always equal good. Oh, and also Statica fucking sucks ass.